Hey guys, how's it going today? We've got a 25 Z900 right here, and Kawasaki, of course. And thanks again to Tomah Area Powersport putting us on these new machines. Going to do a first impression, first ride of this guy, and see what it's all about. These are really fun machines. So let's do a little walk around and see what it's all about. Hey guys, look at what we got today. We got a KTM Super Dude, a 2018 Triumph Street Triple RS, 24 Z650 Kawasaki at Tomah Area Powersport. All right, little quick key turn here before we get out on the road. Listen to the stock exhaust. You don't have to hold the clutch down when it's in neutral. Nice job, Kawasaki. That stock exhaust sounds pretty good, guys. That is better than most stock exhausts I've heard. I like that. I like it. Oh, I like it. All right. Let us get out on the road here. What a good-looking machine. Look at that thing. That is a good-looking machine, guys. At least I think so. All right, let's get out on the road. All right, guys, we got a key turn here. Kawasaki, let the good times roll. Okay, we're going to mount up on this. Start her up. All right. Initially, seat feels pretty comfortable. Stock exhaust, of course. And got a few miles on it, so this is not the first time this bike has been out. Sounds like that on the... Sounds like that while you are on the machine. Alright, pulling away. Clutch feels pretty good. It is not too... the clutch like grabs where you would expect it to. It doesn't grab like super far out like my XSR900 does. I rolled the XSR900 here. I have a 24, so this would be kind of a cool comparison here, although we may do a shootout between the XSR900 and the Z900 RS at some point at the dealership here. So we got some clouds going on. Hopefully we don't get rained on. We're going to do a quick first impression ride review here. And we'll talk about the specs first, as we normally do, as we start out. So this is actually a 948cc motor. So it is it's called the Z900, but it's actually a 948, which I thought was interesting. And right away I can tell from, well, okay, so yeah. Let's do the motor specs first like we normally do. I was getting ahead of myself because I had an initial impression there with the pegs. But, alright, so this is about 123 horse claimed and about 73 foot-pounds of torque. And it weighs just about 460 pounds wet. At least that's the claimed weight. And we're going to hit some bumps up here, see how the suspension feels, because this is the bumpy section of road that we normally hit right at the beginning. And we got about 5 inches, I think it's 4.7 inches of suspension travel up front, and about 5.5 in the rear, on that rear shock. And let's hit these big bumps here. It's not bad. Obviously the suspension is set up stock right now, since it's a brand new machine. So this is the 25 model. And pretty good. It's actually, especially that front suspension is absorbing this bumpy road pretty well. So Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, if you're wondering why the engine is light is on, that's on until it has its first like service when it comes into the dealership. It has to have its, like when the first buyer gets it, they do the initial, they turn that off and all that. So if you're wondering what that is, sometimes you'll see that on some of these first rides. So yeah, my initial impressions here on the ergos, that's what I was going to mention earlier. Your feet are up higher and behind you more than you are on the XSR900. Oh, it's got juice though, guys. It's got juice. It's a bit windy out here today, so I apologize if the sound is a bit windy. I'll have to use some. Have to treat it here to get rid of some of that with one of the apps I have. Anyway, yes. So I think the bend in my knees is more acute than it is in the XSR900. It's quite acute, actually. You can see that. I think that is due to the seat being lower on this. I think the XSR900 sits higher. We'll check that. No one behind us, no one's behind us. So we'll check that up here with the knee bend. We're going 40, so we're going to do a brake check here. Brakes obviously need to be broken in. Not bad though. The bite is right towards the top. There's not as much bite on this. I'm going to let this guy go by so we can take a look at the knee bend here. So I'm flat footing it here at the stop sign on both sides with a slight bend in my knee, and I am as usual 5'10" with about a 32-inch inseam, which is pretty standard in the US here for height and inseam. And we'll give her a little crank here as long as nobody's around. Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's got the juice, guys. Second and third gear is pretty sweet. It feels a little bit, how can I put it? It feels significantly different than the XSR900. So that's kind of what that's the direct competitor for this bike in the Japanese market. That's why I'm mentioning it so much, and I also own one. So this is a first ride for you guys, and a interesting thing for me because I wanted to compare this with my bike. So yeah, it does feel a bit different, and by different I mean it's like the bars are a little wider. The ergos are different in that the bars are a bit closer to me, but at the same time the pegs are higher on this bike. So the bars are closer to you on this bike than the XSR900, and a bit wider, but the pegs are higher. So it's like reverse. It's reverse ergos from the XSR. Woo-hoo-hoo! It is a blast. It is an absolute blast, though. I gotta tell you guys, there is no lack of fun to be had on this machine. We're getting dripped down just a little bit. I was hoping we would get out before the rain came back here. It's kind of been scattered rainstorms today, or scattered showers, I guess you might say. We're gonna go up here and we'll do our regular U-turn up on this smooth road up here. Well, I guess we get to test these tires in a little bit of wet. Unexpected for a first ride. Actually, don't think we've done that before. We'll just take it a little bit easy around the corners. Well, on-off throttle. Let's check the on-off throttle here because that's a known, issue with modern bikes with ride-by-wire throttle. Yeah, it's got a little bit of jerkiness. I would say it's about the same as other modern ride-by-wire throttles. It's nothing that's gonna be any more noticeable, let's say, than other ride-by-wire systems. It's not particularly egregious, but it's not as smooth as a cable throttle. But that's just kind of how these are. Now you can get that tuned out of these modern bikes if you go get your ECU tuned or get a power commander or something like that. So, but it's worth mentioning because it is what it is with modern bikes. Oh wow! Yeah, so right around 5,500, 6,000. It's got a pretty angry motor on this thing. I would say it might actually be a little more angry than my XSR is, than my 900, as far as like how that pull was right there in third when you crack it. Yeah, it's pretty serious. I don't think this would be I would not recommend this for a first bike for somebody, that's for sure. If you've never ridden anything at all, I think this would be probably sketch you out. I'd definitely go with the Z650 or something. We're getting onto the smooth pavement here. Hopefully it's dried up a bit. It looks like it has. Yeah, it does. Good. But it looks like we might have a little traffic on it, but that is okay. Yeah. That's no joke. That is no joke. This has plenty of power to get you moving, that's for sure. It's quite a far cry from the Z650 is super fun bike, super light. You know, great machine. We did it. We had one on the channel here last year, one of theirs, a great machine. But this is, I mean, a far cry as far as power. This is way more power. So it's definitely not a beginner machine, but extremely fun. And the, you know how I'm a stickler for a good heel guard that locks your foot in, and this has a pretty good heel guard on it to lock you in around these corners. Wow, man, that third gear pull, woo, woohoo! Brakes are felt perfectly good there. While stopping, going around that, coming up to that bend, and we're going to do our obligatory U-turn here. Actually, we'll probably have to wait for this car, so we won't get to do a full U-turn, unfortunately. But we get to test. Yeah, he's going straight. Clutch grab is right about in the center of the travel, which is really nice, pretty confidence inspiring. I do like that. I like a good clutch feel. This has very nice clutch feel. Took that corner really goofy. Pretty confident inspiring in the corners. And that felt pretty good, even with a little bit of dampness here. The stock tires in this felt pretty good in that corner. And these are, you know, just barely scrubbed in. There's like 20 miles in this bike, so these tires are just, you know, are scrubbed in, but just barely. So, yeah, feels good. That was pretty confidence inspiring. That's one thing I'm a stickler for, is like how the bike feels in the corner. If you're going around a corner and it's kind of like, what would you say, kind of vague, like my XSR 900 has that problem. It's a bit vague in the corners. I think it's something to do with I've just never got along very well with Bridgestone S22 tires. I don't know why. Some guys absolutely love them for some reason. I seem to not get along with them very well. But anyway, yeah, this bike is, I would say, at least for me, it feels a little more confidence inspiring in the corners, but you know, I've only put in a few miles on it, but no quibbles there at all about, you know, you feel like you're sketched out or something. It feels very sporty. The suspension, it feels like it's kind of set up like a lot of bikes, a lot of sport, these, naked bikes are set up, where it kind of wants to be sporty, but it also kind of wants to be comfortable for the road, so it's like one of those compromise suspensions. But it feels good. It's not, it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. The suspension, it feels better than the gsxs 750 that I owned for a while last year. Yeah. Feels pretty good. It's well suspended enough to give you confidence in the corners and sporty enough, but it's not so hard where it just beats the crap out of you like a sport bike, like a, you know, like the gsxs or something. It does, the ergos are a bit strange, I guess, if you're not used to, like, a lot of people say that it really feels like you're sitting inside the bike on one of these, and I would say that's true, because it has such a big tank, and, you know, it's right here, and you feel like you're kind of deep in the bike, if that makes sense, compared to some of the other, like the Z900 RS, or the XSR XSR 900, you feel like you're more on top of it a little bit, or the MT-09. But this is, yeah, it feels like you're more deep in the bike, and I think the sensation is because of the big tank, and also because of how high your feet are, like how the bend in your knees feels like you're really like part of the machine, right? And it doesn't feel like, it feels very light when you're up at speed. When I was on the side on the kickstand, you can feel the 460 pounds. Like, you can feel that. You know, it's not super heavy for this class of bike, but it's not like a featherweight by any means. But when you're up at speed, it feels very, very nimble, very impressive. All right, we're heading back to the dealership here. The rear brake needs to be bedded in, I can tell, but the rear brake feels fine. Let's check it here. We'll check the rear brake. Go up in a second here so we don't rip our faces off. Okay, rear brake check. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's a rear brake, right? It works. The nice thing is it's not wooden, and it doesn't lock up and come on all of a sudden. So it feels like a rear brake should on a sporty motorcycle. And the front dual disc brakes in this are about 300. They're 300s. Two of them. You got two of them, of course. Oh man, that pull at 5.5, 6 in third gear is something to behold, guys. It is really something to behold. Very playful feeling. Okay, we're in second. We're at that spot. Woo-hoo-hoo! You hear that? You hear that induction howl? Oh yeah. Let's see if I can show it to you again up here. That induction howl in person here is pretty exciting. It just really screams at you. Gearbox is pretty good with the shifts. It's a little bit clunky, but once again, brand new machine, so that could break in over time. But it's not super smooth, but it's okay. It feels good. Nice positive click as you click it in gear. Oh, yes, sir. Let's go up to fourth gear here. See how it feels in fourth. Plenty of power in fourth. Check fifth. Well, of course, we're a little low on the res, but still got power in fifth, too. Impressive. Very impressive. For a four-cylinder inline four, I am impressed by the low and mid-range torque on this. So it doesn't have a lot of low-end torque. It has some, but, you know, it feels pretty equal to the triple on the XSR, to be honest with you guys. I was expecting this to be a little more lazy in the mid-range, but yeah, feels very good. I am impressed by the mid-range on this. Pleasantly surprised, let's say. I'm going to cover the rear brake as we do this, just in case of wheelie. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think the XSR might have a little more mid-range, just a bit. I'd have to look at the dyno, but seat of the pants here, I think my XSR probably has a little more crank in the mid-range there, but man, this is a lot of fun. So we should probably talk about who this bike is for, since that's what we normally do here as we get back on this bumpy road back towards the dealership here. I think this bike would be absolutely excellent if you've had, and not obviously, like we said, not as a first bike, but this could be a second or maybe third bike. I don't know if this would be a good second bike. It depends on how much time you've had on your smaller CC bike. You could handle this, but it's yeah, it feels good. I would say the build quality, at least what I feel here, doesn't feel quite as good as the XSR 900, but this is just a very short ride here, and by that I just mean like the fit and finish. But the suspension on this is better for the road. At least it's just way more compliant. I get beat up a bit on the XSR, so if you're doing like you got some bad roads like this is probably the better bike for you, because the suspension is just better. And just better for this. I mean, for like absorbing bumps, doing city riding. The other one it feels more, especially after the 22 revision on the Yamaha, the suspension is significantly stiffer than it used to be, which is good if you're doing sporting things, but bad if you're doing commuting things on bad roads. Right, it's going to beat you up more. It's adjustable, but to a certain extent, right? I've adjusted it some. I've adjusted actually more sporty. Oh, there's a big bump there. That actually absorbed it pretty well. I'm quite impressed by the suspension on this for city riding. Yeah, this could be a good second or third motorcycle. You got to have some experience because this with your right hand, I mean, because this can get away from you. You got adjustable levers on the brake and the clutch. Very nice job there, Kawasaki. Excellent. The TFT is easily legible. You got your big gear indicator there on your left-hand side, obviously, and your speedo on the right. Easy to read, white background. And we were in road mode the whole time, which is, obviously, this has traction control since it's a new motorcycle. Basically, all the new stuff does, unless maybe you're buying a Grom or something like that. But we are going to go in here to the dealership and do our final thoughts on this machine. And do our quick wrap up. All right, guys, well, we're back with the Z900 here after the ride, and I really had a lot of fun on this, to be honest with you guys. As fun as the little Z125 is, with for being a small bike and having a blast like we did in that last video, this is like the big version of that. I don't know how that doesn't make sense, right? But that's what it is. It's like super nimble, tons of mid-range torque. It's just a blast, and the suspension's pretty good too for absorbing bumps. I would say it's probably better than, like I said, in the ride than my XSR is, as far as, well, the new revised XSR. It's more what would you call it? More supple. This is like a more supple suspension, at least in the way it's set up right now. It's quite good. Hey, let's check and see if it's adjustable. I forgot to do that. Yes, it is. So if you can see there, we have adjustable suspension right there on the front. It looks like only one adjustment though, maybe just a rebound only. And here's your rear shock here. So I'll have to put up the specs right now. This is obviously preload adjustable, so I'll put up all that right there as well. There's also adjustment right there. So it looks like there's a single parameter for the adjustment, not fully adjustable. I will correct myself right here in the comments if I'm wrong. But yeah, it feels really good, really fun bike. I was really surprised by how everybody says that. I haven't been on a Z900 before. I've been on the RS version, the retro, the Neo Retro, I think they call it. But yeah, this version, you really do feel like you're sitting inside the bike. I know maybe it's kind of cliche at this point, but it is true. And you're more, it's because of I think it's the seat to peg ratio, how it's tighter here. And it wasn't uncomfortably tight though. It's just a much more sporty position on your legs, but actually less sporty in your hands because the bars are back a bit. It's kind of an interesting seating arrangement, but I liked it. And it felt a little more, actually it's a little more responsive side to side than my XSR is. I would say probably felt like the gsxs 750 Suzuki is kind of how it felt as far as how nimble it was and the responsiveness of the side to side agility. Very similar to that. They're all very good bikes. All those bikes are really good. But this is if you're commuting and stuff and you got some bad roads, I think this would be the one to get because of how supple the suspension is. And there's so much mid-range in this. It's a lot of fun. These are a good deal too. So yeah, a lot of value to be had here, these bikes. So if you've got one of these bikes, let me know what you think, and leave a message in the comments. We'll talk about it. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Thanks again to Tomah Area Powersport for putting us on these. If you're in the Midwest area up here in Wisconsin, come and give them a check. Their out-the-door prices are the best that I've seen for Kawasaki. Totally honest with you guys, they're just great out-the-door prices, and they do trades and things too. If you have something to trade in, they give you good trade value too. So good set of honest guys here. All right, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.